in Canvas for Monday, July 20th here at the ECTL between 1 and 3 o'clock. So they asked for group functionality and rating, a question that came up earlier. So if any of you are interested in that, please come. And as has already been mentioned, we're there every Monday from 1 to 3 to help you all with anything and everything that you've learned today or anything more courses, instructional technology. So please contact us, email, phone, or just show up when you feel like it. Second announcement is that IT is currently working on some issues they're having with authentication with the media site tool. So any of you who are still having problems getting to that initial screen when you click on the tool, IT is currently working on that with the media site vendor and blah, blah, blah. So that will be working again soon. What I'm going to do in the next, 15, 20 minutes is go through 2 or 3 really simple, quick, easy ways to deal with video and WyoCourses. The first one is the media comment tool, one of my favorite tools in WyoCourses. The second one is just how to quickly, easily link the YouTube video at your course. And the third one is I'm going to briefly show you how to upload an MP4 video into Canvas as a file. And really quick, really easy, simple ways to work with video and WyoCourses. So the first one that I'm going to go into is something called the media comment tool. Has anyone used the media comment tool in their classes? Yeah, wow, great. That's exciting. Okay. The media comment tool is available anywhere you use the Canvas rich content editor. And what I mean is anything that you create content with in Canvas, and I'll show you that right here. For instance, in a page, in an assignment prompt, in a discussion, in a quiz, they all use the rich content editor. So I'll create a new page, and this right here is what's called the rich content editor. You've all seen it already if you use WyoCourses at all. And the Canvas media comment tool, the first place that I'm going to show you where it lives is right here in the rich content editor. So if you all want to get to any tool really in Canvas that you offer things with, you can kind of get started with this. Once you get there, just click on this little film strip icon. And I think most of us know what a film strip looks like, although I think the younger generation doesn't really mean much to them. Might as well have an LP record or something like that there. But anyway, this is supposed to be a film strip right there. So we'll click on the film strip, and I'm first going to give this a title. And the reason that I'm showing this in a page is because the first faculty member here at UW that I worked on flipping with was a professor last fall. It was the first launch of Canvas. He'd only been using it for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. He wanted to try flipping his classroom. And this is the tool that he used, and he used it very effectively. What he did was record short 15 to 20 minute video segments using this media comment tool right on his laptop. He'd move locations, go from his backyard to his office to different places around campus, which I thought was kind of nice. But he did it all in Canvas, all without any kind of external video tool, extremely simply and easily. So if any of you are in here, I'll just start and click record upload media. And what this gives us from the beginning right here is 3 different options. We can either record a full video, which is what it defaults to, or we can just record an audio clip. And this other tab up here that says upload media, this is what would allow us to upload an audio file or a video file that we've recorded using something else. And another kind of plug for the media comment tool is that any video that you record with this tool or that you upload with this tool doesn't count to your course total as far as the amount of space that your course is taking up. So it's essentially free video space, as is my media site, but this is much, much easier to use. So I'm going to choose to record a video, but the first thing that you want to take a look at here is that it uses Flash. And to make it work, all I have to do is click allow, and that's going to allow Flash from the browser to start launching the recorder. Get another view of me here. And the other important part from this screen is if you right click or control click on a mouse and before you start it, that's where you're going to get to the actual settings for the tool. So right click anywhere on here, and if you're I have to scroll down just because how small the browser resolution is, but multiple cameras, like multiple USB cameras hooked up. You can choose which one you want right here, define it. And there's only one on this computer right now, but we'd go to this drop-down menu, there'd be a list. And you can do the same thing for audio. This is just using the built-in mic, but if we had, looks like there's a couple of different choices here. We'll just keep it on the built-in one. And there's also, you can echo reducing, and you can change the levels here a little bit on the recording, which is kind of nice. So those are the main settings that you want to be aware of. And I'm just going to click right here in the middle to start recording. Do a couple seconds of nonsense. Right back in the middle of the video to stop recording. And then it's giving me a little preview here, but I'll just click save. And it automatically embeds it right into the rich content editor. And that's literally all you have to do. You click start recording, you click stop recording, save, and there's your video in a page on WyoCourses. You didn't have to go anywhere. You didn't have to use any kind of complex tool or install anything at all. And just to give you an idea of what it looks like, of course, always scroll down below the fold, hit save or update or whatever it is. And the one neat change over the last 3 weeks or so is that now we have save and publish instead of just save. So with one click, we can save this page and make it visible to everyone, whereas before we had to click on the little green cloud icon to get it to be saved, to get it to publish and be visible. But right now we can just hit save and publish. So it's going to give us a thumbnail of the video. And as was mentioned earlier, it runs really well. I haven't had any reports really of students not being able to view videos. The only problems I've heard with the media comment tool were way last fall. And Canvas has since upgraded and changed its video infrastructure completely so that it's actually a lot more robust. And this tool is really powerful and pretty flawless from what I have found. So that's the media comment tool. Are there any questions about that? Yes. 500 megabytes. And, you know, that's, with the kind of resolution that this is, that's more than a half an hour long video. And so, you know, we really encourage people to make their videos 7 to 10 or 15 minutes in. Chunk them into really potential pieces of content instead of longer pieces. So, you know, that's a fairly long video. And that also goes for individual file sizes too. If you have an MP4, say, that's over 500 megabytes, it's not going to want to upload it through the tool either. So that's going to count. It's a fairly large video. Yes.
So what's different about this versus my media site is this is just you sitting there, whereas my media site is more.
Exactly. My media site brings in the screen capture and screen recording capabilities. It has some, you know, editing capabilities. It also has, you know, the continuum, I guess, for me would be, you know, the media comment tool, my media site, and then Camtasia would be kind of more complex and more powerful. So this is really on the simple end of it. And, you know, there's kind of a continuum depending on what you want to be able to do with video in your course. Yes.
A course using this tool. It would be helpful if there were examples of successful, what you see as very successful uses of all of this technology, or whichever was the best.
Yeah, maybe
so
we
you
can
see
add
what a good job looks like.
Yeah, that's a great point. Maybe we can add some examples into the
lunch boxes, yeah. And those are not led by faculty. They're basically five speakers that are you. Some of them, Carol has done it, and Kate has done it. And anyway, that come in and show, and we've chosen them because they are showing you they've done it well, and they're showing you what they've done. So that's helpful too.
And it's difficult actually to just put up examples of people's work. People tend to be uncomfortable with that. The reasons, the reasons that people have chosen very specific tools is to accommodate very specific needs. And so we found that we really aren't very successful at saying generically, here's the best thing to do for this, or here's a great example, unfortunately. But when we have faculty come in for the lunch boxes and really talk through what they've done, you can really get a good sense of what's working and making sense.
Where was lunch advertised?
Through Wildlife. Yeah, you'll be, most of you, now that you're registered for something, we'll call you so you know about to you as well.
They also
Like
are,
everybody else.
they're also posted on the WyoCourses website, on the training page. And that's just a running list of all of our sessions, so they get updated periodically.
But we could,
Yes.
that's just scheduled, that's not recorded.
Some of the recordings are.
Well, it depends on what you're most comfortable with. Honestly. I would say that if you already have a YouTube account, and you like YouTube, if you want to just get started quickly, then you can very easily upload your MP4 to the media comment tool. You could also upload the MP4 just as it is to WyoCourses. It's just sitting there as a file. It does, yeah. Other questions? Okay. All right, I'm going to take a quick jump into the apps for WyoCourses. And I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with these, but there's a lot out there in the third-party app world as far as WyoCourses goes. The ones I'm going to show you right now, see here we could just have this huge running list. These are all different learning tools that can be integrated into WyoCourses. But for right now, I'm going to show you the YouTube related ones. And the two that I'm going to briefly touch on right now are just this YouTube Broadcast Yourself app. And I'm sorry, the way that I got to this was by settings. Click on settings. And then you'll be to kind of under the hood of your Canvas course, and then we're going to go to apps. And under apps, you can just search for any specific app that you want to see if it already has an LTI integration. But I'm going to install the Broadcast Yourself app. And what this one does is it allows you to search and embed YouTube videos without ever even leaving WyoCourses. So you don't have to go into another browser window. You don't have to go to YouTube. You can just do your search right within WyoCourses. And I'm going to go get the other one. Here.
This is also something you have to do for every course, right? Or do you
Yes, it is for every course, definitely. The second one is the YouTube Capture app. And I show this because this is also something that a lot of people have used. And this would be more of an alternative to the media comment tool. And you might be interested in this, especially if you're already using YouTube a lot and you're already familiar with YouTube video. The YouTube Capture app allows you to record video within WyoCourses, and then it automatically pushes it to your YouTube account and embeds it in WyoCourses, just all in one shot, basically. That's allowing you to search like education-related content on YouTube, so .edu, YouTube, that domain. So it's not the full YouTube search, but it would just be education content. So now that I've added those two apps, then I'm going to go back into, again, any tool that uses the rich content editor in Canvas. And for this one, I think I'll go into maybe an assignment. I'll create an assignment prompt that has a YouTube video in it. And I apologize for, we're breezing over a lot of key functionality of WyoCourses here, but this is how you would create an assignment, go into edit mode, and then we'll see This is something that confused me at first. I have like 15 of these different apps, and this isn't an app. This is just going to show you the list of all the ones you can't see. So it might be hiding if you have more than just a couple. So we'll click on this, and I'm just going to do the YouTube one first. So I'll type in search. Hit embed. And then scroll down and hit save really quickly, or save and publish. Maybe I didn't give it a title. Yeah. Oh, need to get this, sorry. Okay, so in just less than 2 minutes, I found and embedded a YouTube video in the rich content editor in WyoCourses. And you can do it in any place the rich content editor is, just like the media comment tool. And I'll just go and just show you really quickly the YouTube Capture app, because I think it's interesting enough to take a look at if it's something that you want to use. Here. I'm going to hit edit. And again, back to the rich content editor, and go down to our list and YouTube uploader, just to show you what this looks like. And here you can also upload, but you can record from webcam. And I would log into Google. Yeah, I'm not going to waste our time doing all that, but suffice it to say, you just log in and then you record directly from this, and it's very similar to the media comment tool. So any questions about the two different YouTube apps? The third thing that I'm going to show you is probably the most basic way to integrate video into a WyoCourses course, and that would be to add it as a file in a module. And we highly recommend that you organize your course using modules, and that you present it in a way that makes sense, in a linear or narrative fashion. So what I'm going to do is just go into a specific module. Maybe, I'll just take this one, hit the plus sign. And this is where we could add an assignment, we can add a discussion, we can add a content page. For right now, I'm just going to add a file. And I'm going to click New File, and then I'll have to browse to upload. And since this is the only thing on my desktop is my MP4 that I have waiting for me, I'll just click on it and hit Open. And I'm going to hit Add Item. And so then I've just dropped a very short, admittedly, MP4 into my course in just a couple seconds, which the students would view by just clicking on it, and it would play on whatever media player they have installed on their machine, basically. So, is there any questions about any of the 3 quick and dirty video options that I showed you? All right, thank you.
All right, we are a little ahead of schedule. Do you want to play with those really quick for a few minutes? Or do you want to go ahead and finish it? Okay, we'll go ahead. Yay, finish.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick thing about talking about online discussions, because we're showing all kinds of cool things for flipping classrooms, all kinds of cool technologies, but one of the most basic distance technologies or online technology generally is a threaded discussion online, and it actually is one of the more powerful tools for the classroom. There are multiple examples. There might even be somebody in here that taught in a classroom, then taught online, and realized they really liked the threaded discussions and it took them back to the classroom. This is a really common occurrence because they can be very powerful. What happens really often in classes, as all of you know in live classes, is you ask a question, you try to have a discussion, and this discussion is not being dominated by many of the same people. And when we started doing a lot of online stuff, what we learned, we started doing polls and online discussions. What we learned was some of the kids that you thought were paying no attention in the back of the room were actually very engaged but did not want to talk. So what happens is when you get online, you start doing online discussion, you often end up getting voices of students that you simply do not get in a classroom. It doesn't mean that they're less valuable, it just means they're not comfortable in any way in that environment. And so a lot of faculty, even if they don't flip the classroom, will actually provide some opportunity for those students to express themselves in some way. It's also extremely good for students whose English is a second language because they have, if I don't speak the language of things spoken well in the classroom, it's very uncomfortable for me to be jumping forward and trying to, I can't keep up with the conversation. I'm sure some of you have that experience with English or with another language. It's very difficult to engage in the conversation because it may go too fast and you're not sure you're going to phrase it quite right. But when you do an online discussion, these students have time and the opportunity to phrase how they want. They know they can get it right. They can spend the time to get it right. And so it's a very helpful thing. So this is a very simple process, but actually really, really powerful. And I've actually put down here a couple of some research articles that are just things that you might read if you're trying to figure out how to write a good discussion, because a discussion is no good if you just go through and just have a question that's like, well, what were the 3 points from the book, right? That's not a very good discussion because they're going to go in there and say you get 3 points from the book, and what are they going to discuss about that? So, trying to set up a good discussion has some, there's some skill to it. So you're trying to find a discussion that students are willing to engage in, that they might get excited about, and that isn't just an answer to the question. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to walk you through how to create a discussion because there's lots of options for discussions. And I'm going to show you how to create a discussion. And then we can talk a little bit about how we might use them. But first, let's just create a discussion. Actually, let's just create a discussion in here. So you're just going to put in the name of it, right? So you want that to be meaningful. And then you're going to put in the prompt. So the prompt is, what do you want them to do? Right? What do you want them to discuss? That type of thing. So if you want to, what's a good discussion prompt? Anyone? Let's discuss the implications of the reading. That's pretty big. Okay, moving on. Don't be that vague. With this discussion, I can allow threaded replies. I think you should always, there's very little reason not to. And what a threaded reply means is I can respond, if I'm a student, I can respond directly to Annette's response instead of just kind of vaguely to the entire class. Okay, so that's a very helpful thing for students because you can follow a thread that way. That's why it's called the thread discussion. You can follow the thread of the discussion for each piece as opposed to having just kind of a bunch of students' things. We also they have to post before seeing replies. So this is a really great way to do something if you want them to kind of give you their ideas before they see what everybody else has said. Because we all know that once they start reading other people's, they're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to say, right? Some of them will say that. They're always the ones that jump in right away, and then they don't have that option. But they can post first, and then once they can see the replies, they can respond to other people. But at least they have to post something first. So you can do this or not, depending upon what your discussion is and what your choices are. The podcast feed doesn't really matter. You can decide if this is graded or not. So you can decide whether you want it's going to be a graded discussion or it's going to be just one that's not graded. Graded means it will show up in your grade book, and we can give points to it. And then allow liking. New? That's new, right? I've never seen this before.
That's new.
Cool. So I'm going to assume that means that you can like a post, which I really think is cool. I always want to do it. I'm like, oh, I can't like that. Bummer. So I'm going to just say that this is we're going to allow threaded replies, and I'm going to allow liking because I like it. Only graders can like. No, everybody can like. And then So then it looks like you can sort by like, so if you were seeing who had the most popular answer, you could do that if you wanted to. This has some potential for teaching. I just didn't have this option before. I can also make it a group discussion. So this ties into the group discussion. We talk about the grouping stuff. Talk about when we make it a group discussion, what happens is that it creates, like if I make 3 groups, we'll create 3 discussions with students, certain students in it. This is very, very helpful because if you have a class, especially a big class, a class of 30 students or a class of 100 students, and they have to read everybody's reply, this is a disaster. Like this is really hard, and for you, but really for them. They have to scroll through every person's post. That's really difficult. So the best discussions generally happen between like 4 and 6, 7 students. So those are nice numbers for a nice discussion. But that's not too overwhelming to them. That will actually kind of roll. If you do much less, then there's not enough to really get going. And if you do much more, it's just too many to read for the students. You often end up reading all of them, but you know that's another whole story. So I can say it's a group discussion. Usually I will do that. This is telling me to create a group category, and we'll split them into equal groups. We'll split them into 5 equal groups, and we'll just say we'll create this. So I'm creating a group. So now I'm doing this in the course we're in, so you guys all got put into, just got randomly assigned to groups just now when I did that. And like here's where I say save available from. I can set those up. So we're gonna just hit save. Oh, I guess I should have hit save and publish. That would have been good. So you can see here though, now I have, it's created 5 groups. And so what it has done is, because I said randomly assign you, all of you are now in 5 groups, which is probably a little bigger than might be about right. And so each group of students is in a specific group. I'm going to publish this so you guys can see it if you want. So this is actually in the course, but it's not in a module. Let me throw it in a module so that you can see it. We'll just okay, you should be able to see it now under general information. So there's your discussion, and you can go in here and you can decide what students are allowed to do in a discussion by going to your settings. So what I mean by that is, are they allowed to use the media tool? Are they allowed to upload stuff? Are they allowed to edit their tools or edit this post after they did it? You can set up these things in the media tool, your settings. I can show you that. But this is the post. And then as we go through this is also what we're going to use for our book discussion. But as we go through this, it's really important there's a couple of things that are really important for a discussion to be successful. Especially if you're using it in a way that you're trying to get the voice of the students. You want them to feel like this is kind of safe space. So a couple things that are really important is to make sure that you're paying attention to the discussion, making them feel like you're present in the discussion. Even for an on-campus class, it's a really good idea to kind of go in and at least, maybe you don't have to do it in the thread in an on-campus class, but reference them, talk about them, let the students know that you're reading them. If they just feel like they're out there discussing on their own, then they just, anarchy ensues, you know. It may be anarchy or maybe nothing.
It shows up with the speaker as well.
Yes. Yes, you can. Yeah, you can, and I can show you that. Although I don't think I can show you on a different class. But yeah, I mean, when you make it a graded discussion, I can't remember if I made this a graded discussion. You have all kinds of options for grading it as well. Can't remember what I did with that. I did not make it a graded discussion. Which then allows it to show up in the speed grader. So that's pretty much a discussion. It can be a little tricky because it can be, you know, how you prompt them, what you ask them for is really important. So how you phrase that and how you get them to participate. One thing I should show you that has to do with groups actually. When you create a discussion group and you go to project group, so this is a discussion group. What has happened is I have now created a whole group. And this is why this whole group thing was a little longer, although than it was before, and now it gives a range of time for it. You can see that I have now created a group. You know it's a group because it says so right here. It says project group 1. And then you can see the tools that a group has. So this is where they're going to reply to their discussion, but they have a whole bunch of other stuff. So essentially you've created by creating a discussion group, you created a whole group website for them. They can do other stuff. So something to keep in mind. And I think on July 20th, we will be doing, from 1 to 3, me and CTL will be doing a groups lesson, all talking about groups. So if you're around and you're interested in that, please come to that. because it is a little interesting and complex. But we'll just go back to the boot camp. I think that's about it for group or discussion. So let's have some questions.
So one of those were graded. So my question is, what are your options for grading these? Is it just participation? Is it depends?
So let's go in and look at it, and I'll show you. When I did graded, as soon as I click graded, you're going to notice that I got all kinds of options down here that weren't here before. So the points possible. So I can say I want this to be 20 points, and I want it displayed as I mean, these are simple, but you asked me. So there's complete and incomplete. So I can say they get 20 points if they're complete. If they participated in this in any way, they get 20 points. Or I can give them, anyway, I can choose one of those, right? So as a general rule of thumb, with discussions, you want to encourage a discussion. So you'll often give them a set of points for the first posting, so like their answer to your prompt. But then you give them another set of points for participating with their students, so responding to other students. So usually you don't do complete and incomplete for discussions, because then that just means that they go in and they do it once over. Yeah. Did you have a question, David?
Well, I'm always trying to get them to contribute something significant
Yes.
to the discussion, not just, oh, I loved your post.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's a challenge.
It is a
And so I'm wondering what this light thing does.
Yeah,
If you choose that, does that count as an entry? I mean,
I think that would depend upon you. I would probably say no.
no.
It would depend upon you. I think I can see some cool instructional uses of the like button. I haven't had time to think about it yet, but I can off the top of my head and think some good ones, but that wouldn't be one of them. I wouldn't use it as a participation thing.
No.
Debbie, you have a lot of experience with this.
Well, I'm thinking the like would actually reduce the number of, hey, great idea.
Right, exactly.
It's a way for them to acknowledge it, so actually that's kind of.
But how is it recorded?
I don't know. I just saw it, so I'm not sure. I think it's gonna show you how many likes they got. So if I hit the button that says like, it'll show you.
Oh, so it's
Right.
not like an entry.
But to your question though, part of encouraging the participation, the encouragement of interacting with the students, I give my students, and I think a lot of us do, a rubric for discussion that says, here it is. And if you come back and you say, great job to somebody, that's not meaningful participation. So you're gonna get a, developing on my rubric. If you, as opposed to failing, that you did something, but it wasn't enough. And, you have to have, and I will create a rubric and I put it there and say, hey, this is how I'm gonna grade you, and you will get these points supporting. And that's really important. Yes, Amanda?
You could use it like an exemplary. You stay and everybody can see everybody else's likes. You could go in and say, I like this one, I like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could actually.
So can you upload files, or can the student upload files
Yes.
when they're answering?
Yes. I think that is this was a problem I ran into with one of my classes, actually. I believe it's a setting. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I ran into this, all my students were like, I can't upload the thing you told me to upload. And I'm like, oh, okay. Why not? I don't know. But it turns out that there is a setting that is down. If you go into settings, okay, so I'll go slower. You go into settings and you go down to more options. Let students attach files to discussions. Needs to be clicked. And so, yes, it's very helpful. I'm like, why are you on the time that I can't? I'm like, why? Again, yeah,
If you click it like once, does it go for all the sessions? You have to click
Yes.
for each?
yeah, this is a global for the class setting. So every discussion in the class will then have that. The other thing I talked about was, let them create discussion topics, but edit or delete their own discussion posts. I think that's a really nice thing to do for students. I don't know if it's the fault or not. It might be, but you can take it away, but sometimes they'll post it and be like, oh my gosh, I put the typo in it. And it's nice to be able to let them go back and fix that without you, without causing them. Otherwise, you get emails and I messed up on that post and I don't want to. Yeah. And so so you're just gonna say attach things and you're set. Any other questions on this or comments or yes, over here.
One of the things that I've seen done, in addition to different ways of grading discussion threads, is offering extra credit for like example So that would be one way of using the likes.
Yes, it
You
would.
can also use it for extra credit, where each time maybe a point or two of extra credit goes to the person with
The most likes, exactly, and then you really get some good discussion in there. Yeah, I agree. I think the likes have some good possibilities that I was on. But I mean, like I said, the last time I got into this, there was no likes. Cool.
So
Go, Meg.
Christy, at the beginning of the afternoon, showed the discussion that we had set up to begin the book discussion. I'll enable the like function for that discussion. And I would love it if, as people post discussion ideas, we use the like function and decide to, and maybe that will help us decide how we want the discussion to develop.
There was an emphasis. Yeah, you've done a lot of discussion. Do you have anything to add about how to do a good discussion? I like the lot of research.
Instructor has to be in there, guiding, affirming, pushing the questions, not too soon, so we don't inadvertently direct conversation, but speaking as a student as well, outside of classes where I never started instructing. And that's a piece.
I think that is one of the biggest things is presence in your discussions. Also, if you have a discussion, you do a really great discussion prompt that has some kind of controversial information or controversial discussion, right? Which is a great discussion prompt because people get excited and they start talking about it. It's real important that you're in that often because those can go south so fast. Like those can go wrong in a big hurry. Like if somebody will start, if they start going down some path that is just inappropriate, or I mean, they can do that really fast. And so being present in those discussions, if they're good prompts, they often need some real care with them. The one thing with the discussions is that, oh, I know what I was going to say. So the discussions, your students can also, when they reply, you can also make the discussion, a written discussion, into something else. So using the tools that Cindy talked about, the video and stuff, your students can actually use video to respond to stuff and or upload stuff or put links in. So I could actually have an entire discussion board that is nothing but video introductions. I've seen some faculty do that. When they, especially in online classes, they try to have the students create a video introduction so that everybody can see each other and kind of hear what they're saying and stuff. And the whole discussion will just be a video recording and you can play and listen to them and you can play and listen to this person. Which is kind of a cool thing to do. I think not all students, you usually have to be kind of flexible with that because not all students have access to have a camera and can do a really good job of that. But most students can usually get to something. Because they can even upload it from their phone if they need to. So, anything else? Any other questions, discussions? All right, so I think that is all our instruction for the day. You are welcome to stick around and we will help you as much as you want with anything you want to work on. And also, just a couple of things. We have our next boot camp is July 8th, and it is going to be focused on collaboration tools, like I said before. And so we'd really love to have you come back. We gave you books today. We would like you to do the discussions. Next time we will give you more toys. There'll be different toys, but they won't be books. We are giving books. But there'll be other stuff for you to get. So you come to the next one, and we'll give you more stuff. But we're not above bribery here. So we're going to bribe you up to the next one, and bring your friends. And sign up so we know how much food you get because we basically are on food today. So, and not that no complaints, we just want to know. And you know, you're welcome to bring other people as well too. I mean, you know, Tammy was saying, well, not a faculty, I don't know, and I was like, no, totally come. This is not an issue at all for us. So bring anybody you want to come. And then our last one is on August 19th, I think, and it's going to be like we said on giving feedback, writing good exams, good prompts, good things like that. So that'll be another good one at the end of this. And then if you're new to WyoCourses, we will be having rapid course design stuff right before the semester starts. You want to get your course up and running. And every Monday from 1 to 3 we have touch so that we can help you with all your technology needs. So that's pretty much it, I think. Thank you all for coming, and I don't know, have a good day.